brought you out to this event and to bring this event together?
Well, we're out here at the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission where Kelcy, the CEO of Energy Transfer Partners, which is one of the majority stakeholders in the Dakota Access Pipeline, has been appointed to the commission. So we're out here to let the commission know that this type of corruption will not stand here in Texas, and that we're here launching essentially the Texas Water Protectors movement. We're here to protect our aquifers, our rivers, our lakes, our streams, our bays here in Texas, and protect the water for future generations.
So this will be, you think, evolve into a statewide movement, more direct action, sites around the state?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it already really is happening. Earlier in April, we had a Native Texans United March where Native peoples from over 26 nations came together and marched in Eagle Pass against the coal mine there, which is very similar to the Dakota Access Pipeline, where the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers did an improper consultation with tribes, and now they're mining coal, which is being exported to Mexico. You also have the Comanche Trails Pipeline, also which is done by Energy Transfer Partners, which cuts through Hueco tanks, a sacred site like Eagle Pass. You have the TPPL pipeline, which is going through the Big Bend region in the Trans-Pecos, threatening that area. You have new development around Balmaray, the largest freshwater spring in Texas, an oasis in the desert, and the last clean beach in Texas, South Padre Island, is being threatened by LNG export terminals. All of this development happening right now. It's happening very fast, and all of that development is for exporting natural resources. None of it is for keeping the lights on or the greater good of our local or national economy. This is for a small number of very rich people to get even richer. Those are the people who are supporting Governor Abbott and the majority of people who are in political power in this state. And their reward is sitting on commissions like this, the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission, which should be protecting our parkland, but it's not. And when you look at the very small amount of land in Texas, which is public land, just something like 5% or less, so we have such little bit of land. We shouldn't have fracking in that land, but we absolutely do see fracking in that land. And it's really despicable. So many of our parks are being threatened.
How important is it right now in Texas that has such a kind of deplorable history when it comes to recognizing and working with Native peoples, that this evolve or develop as a result of indigenous voices and values?
It's extremely important. It's one thing to have people in the Dakotas who are Native leading the movement there, because it is culturally known as a place of indigenous resistance. Texas is sort of the opposite. Texas is a hyper-colonial place. Colonialism is produced in Texas, culturally and materially. We have the oil and gas industry seated here. We have the most pipelines, we have the most refineries, we have the economic engine of industrial capitalism based here in Texas. We know this. We also have an extremely long border with Mexico, which is representative of the state. We also have in Texas none of the tribes and native peoples who consider this to be their ancestral land have federal recognition here. So all of our reservations, whether it's the Tigua in West Texas, the Kickapoo in South Texas, or the Alabama Coshada in East Texas, those are all native peoples who were displaced from other parts of the United States and brought to Texas. Whereas where you look at the native population of the Coahuitecans, the Carrizo Come Crudo, the Apaches, the Tonkawa, all of these native peoples from here who consider Texas to be their ancestral territory, they've either been displaced or have never been granted any sort of indigenous federal recognition as native nations or peoples. However, they are here and they're embedded into the fabric of this place and of this state. So for them to rise up at this moment saying, you know what, we are here and we don't agree with the way that this land is being treated, this water is being treated, our people have been treated, and we don't agree with the capitalist state as it is functioning right now in destroying this land and keeping power in the hands of a very small amount of people, is really very significant. because it changes, it goes beyond this sort of, well, there's native people who have their own land which can be protected up there in the Dakotas, and really says, hey, what about all of this land? What is the foundation of law here? Why is the foundation of law in Texas that somebody whose grandparents murdered a lot of Indians gets to just have millions of acres of land and develop it for oil, when the majority of people in Texas, especially native peoples and peoples of color, are going to be living in poverty and having their water and their land destroyed? Who made that up? Who made that the law? Who made those treaties? And I think that when people are really awakening to the new movement that's happening, they're going to do a lot more than question a pipeline or the oil and gas industry. They're going to be questioning the foundation of the colonial society that we live in, which is right now the capitalist state.